Welcome to the second episode of Teachers Hate Apples. Today I have Kayleen. She is an amazing paraprofessional in our building. She has many hats that she has to wear, and we're going to peel back the apple skin on this and see what she actually does in the building, how she makes a difference, and then we are also going to get a parent perspective. I am here with Kayleen.
Hello.
All right, Kayleen works in the building, and she has many jobs. She's always going from place to place and helping out wherever there is need, and that is definitely all over the place. So, Kayleen, can you just talk a little bit about your school experience growing up?
My parents are from Long Island, so they moved up here and didn't really know much about the public school scene. So they went to private schools, so I went to private school. So it's kind of nice working here and experiencing things that I didn't get to at school. We didn't have a playground. We didn't have, anything like they do here, which is kind of cool.
Wow,
So,
yeah. Was there something that, other than the playground, that was a great example? Is there anything else that was like very different? Did you have to have a dress code?
oh yeah, we had to wear a uniform every day. My principal was a nun.
Okay.
We had to altar serve and go to religion classes, and that was like in the curriculum. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. There was no like hot lunch. Everybody packed a lunch. Like that wasn't a thing. Field trips were not a thing. I don't think I went anywhere. My mom worked across the street. My brother got bullied, so she was in the bushes a couple times. Because the whole school was like a horseshoe almost, with like a courtyard in the center. I'll like never forget that. We were in science doing some like hydroponics thing, building lettuce, and my girlfriend like pops me on the shoulder and she's like, "Yo, your mom's in the bushes." And I'm like, "What do you mean my mom's in the bushes?" And I look and there she is.
Sure enough, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
So it's cool working here because I didn't get to do any of that stuff, and my sister got to because she needed services.
Okay.
So to pull her from the private school and bus her to here and to back and forth, it would just made sense for her to come here. So she got to do all the cool stuff that my brother and I didn't get to do.
So you were seeing what you were missing out on. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's like kind of like reliving my childhood here.
That's good. Is there anything from your private school experience that you wish would carry over to a public school setting?
No.
Okay.
I feel like, it was cool because we got more expensive, like, clothes and stuff because we weren't, like, daily, destroying it,
Right.
Like, we wore a uniform all day, so we went home and, like, had play clothes. So if I wanted that, $40 tracksuit from Weathervane, I got it because I didn't
Right, because you didn't
wear
need
it every
a lot
day.
you didn't need a lot of clothes.
Yeah, there wasn't a need for it. You had
Yeah.
to wear like a certain sweater, and boys had crew necks and girls had V-necks, and there's like 4 different kinds of shoes that you could wear. Like my mom started a war because you're like when you were, what was it? I think it's kindergarten to 4th or 5th, you had to wear a jumper.
Okay.
And then once you got like over that, you got to wear the dress shirt and the skirt. So like that made everybody excited because you like crossed that bridge, like you weren't like a baby anymore. And they had to go, like the hemline had to be a certain length and you could only have so much leg exposed. It was like a whole thing. And my mom started a war because she used to take and hem all my stuff because I've always been short. And she made scrunchies, and it started a war. It started a war at the school. Yeah, so it's funny.
I'm trying to picture you as a little kid in a school uniform. So I hope there's a picture somewhere
Oh, there's
that
proof.
you can bring in
Yes,
and
I
show
can
me.
totally share
So
that with you.
I would love to see that. Uh, all right, so I just wanted to transition into what you do for the school now, and anything that was like memorable from your schooling experience. If you see that in this school, like teaching styles or anything, just feel free to jump in on
I
that.
feel like I've worked at both elementary schools in this district. Of that is very different from what I do here
Yeah,
because they kind of just stay in their little routine and you don't divert from it. Whereas here, I could be in a different place every day, which is so nice. And
so you
kind
like
of
that.
being,
You like
yeah,
you like the flexibility.
I do like the
Yeah,
flexibility. I like
and
getting to know all the
the constant
kids.
change.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I like being in kindergarten one day and fourth grade the next day and second grade the day after that. Like, you know,
yeah,
I mean, I miss the everyday. Like, I think I wouldn't say I miss it. I miss her. I miss my old student that I
yeah.
one-on-one with.
Mm-hmm.
We got really close, but I like the flow of things better here.
Yeah. This is the better school of the two. I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure.
as a mom,
So yeah,
I'm partial to here, so
right.
my son went here. So,
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of being a mother, uh, obviously COVID impacted education drastically. What did you notice from the parent perspective?
I feel like it impacted a lot of people differently. For people like myself and my son who is very social, that was good for him because he had nothing to do but pay attention to his schoolwork. There was no, oh, I'm going to wander around the hallway. Oh, I have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
like I
And the
got the jitters. I need a,
distractions
yeah, there
and
was no,
excuses weren't there.
yep, there was no like distraction or excuse. So somebody who is like my son thrived. He was on the honor roll, he was on the merit roll,
Right.
except for when they would like, he broke his whole computer. They were doing like a scavenger hunt or something, and yeah, it went toppling down the stairs.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was good for Aaron because with his like transitioning issue and his ADHD, and it was good for him because he was in the same place and he didn't have to worry about being late to a class or forgetting something because that's just who he is as a person.
Right.
And so but I mean, he missed all of middle school
Yeah.
practically. Right. Like he started 6th grade and was there for a month.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it didn't go back until the middle of 8th grade.
That's wild.
Just
to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to like be in high school, so like you
Right.
didn't even get your full chance to be the big fish again.
Right.
And then they were just the little fish again.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me how you said that he had ADD or ADHD. Or ADHD. And a lot of times people are saying that those kids didn't do well remotely, and you would think it would kind of be the opposite, especially with how social he is, that he was missing out on the social opportunities by being stuck behind a computer for, years. But it just seemed very interesting that it was different than what I've been hearing, most case scenarios. So it just goes to show that, every disability classification or every, setting is different, and you always have to find that perfect matchup of how a kid learns, which way is best for them.
Yeah.
And it's different from every student. Even if you look at just one disability classification of ADHD, there's probably 10 different ways that
You could go
people,
about it.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly,
for sure.
and it'd be
That's
different.
what.
So, thank you for bringing that up because that's really,
Yeah.
really important. So,
I mean, my mom was very adamant about that. You know, we
right,
sat at the dining room table and it was set up like a desk and his laptop stayed there.
yep,
And yeah, I think that was good because it was like structured, you know, and
mm-hmm,
he had to have his camera on and he didn't lose points because he didn't have his camera on. And, you know, like that was like one of her biggest things, you know, when I would go get him after work. You know, what are they learning? Because they spend half the time getting yelled at because their camera's not on.
yeah,
You know, so
definitely,
I was like, oh, you know, and that's stuff that, I mean, my mom's the real MVP to that because I had to go to work. You
right,
know, like
yeah,
that was, I didn't work here for the district when COVID was a thing. I was at
oh,
a warehouse.
okay, yeah.
So that was, I mean, we didn't get
Probably weird
any.
shifts and odd, long hours,
Yeah,
probably, right?
10 hours, mandatory 10-hour shifts. And I mean, it was a Amazon fulfilled warehouse. So that was the toilet paper and all the PPE and gloves and
Yeah,
masks. And
right in the height of it all, too.
it was
So,
insane.
yeah,
It was insane.
yeah.
I think that's what
Were you
motivated
able to
me.
buy toilet paper right from the source?
Yes,
You
if I
were,
wanted it.
if you needed it.
Yes. I would say my favorite purchase was my ice machine since I'm a sports mom.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
That was, I think, my favorite purchase
that's pretty cool.
from when I worked there.
So let's talk a little bit more about what you do to build a meaningful relationship with the students that you work with. There's a certain girl that I know that I've seen you work with, and I've been amazed with how you get her to be interested in learning. And many people have struggled with this individual, but you just have some kind of magic touch. Can you explain what you do?
I think a lot of it is trust. And a lot of the people in my position are older than me, you know, so that's a lot of it too. I'm a girl. There's nothing that you think that you're going to do that I haven't done.
Yeah,
And, you know, you just kind of like put yourself in their shoes. And then the more that you work with them, you know, where they come from, how their life is, you know, so maybe if one day they're being a little bit of a brat, you know, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to send you to the office, like, you know, did you have breakfast? Are you all right?
yeah.
What's going on?
You don't seem like yourself
Yeah,
today.
like,
Yeah.
you know, talk to me.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are so quick to judge these kids and nobody knows, you know, what they come from. I mean, I've seen craziness even in kindergarten and they don't know what's going on, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
Like, it's just something as simple, you know, as like, oh, the parents were fighting or,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'd, you know, it's a lot. And, you know, if you build trust with them, you'll be a huge, huge part of their life.
Right.
I
So
mean,
how do you build that trust?
listen.
Listen
Gotta
to them.
listen.
Yeah.
Listen to them. They'll tell you what they need. That's what. I mean, maybe it's like being such a young mom.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, I was 19 when I got pregnant for my son. I had him when I was 20.
Yeah.
I didn't do the whole bar scene, out partying. You know,
Right.
he was my life, and I always listened to him. So I just take that into my job here. You know, if you treat them like they're yours, you'll
Yeah.
get a lot further than,
That's great.
you know.
Yeah, we need more people like you
Oh,
that
thank you.
understand the relationship is so important. And, if it's not a solid foundation,
You have nothing.
one thing could set the kid off, or, so if you have that foundation, you can make great progress and move mountains with a kid. And I've seen you do it, so
Thank you.
pat yourself on the back for that one, seriously.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
It's mainly the girls that
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good with the boys too. I feel like I have a boy, so I know how rough boy life can be. I mean, I feel like she and I get along very well because I see a lot of similarities in myself and her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was like that, so that's kind of how I come at
Yeah.
her. you know?
Right. I was gonna
We
say.
were a lot alike. So.
I was gonna say, if there was one teacher that made a big impression when you were in school, who was that? What was their role?
I had two that were amazing. I had an English teacher, and I had her in middle school and in high school. Her name was Miss Silverman. She was amazing. She was my teacher that I shout out my senior year in the yearbook. You're allowed to recognize a teacher.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, and it was her. And then there's another amazing teacher that I've continued my friendship with since high school to adulthood now, who happens to also be a teacher in this building now. So
that's amazing.
It is.
And we're gonna have an episode just on that. So I'm really looking forward to finding out that whole story. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but it's just another amazing example of a teacher going above and beyond to build a relationship with someone and make their student feel feel like they are a human, not just a student. They're not just a number. They're a special individual. So I commend both of you guys for doing that. So just real quick, I wanted to end with, what would you tell your past self for advice-wise, like going into the field of being in education? Think back to your first day when you started. What were you nervous? What would you tell yourself?
My first day here was insane. So
let's hear it.
My first day working for the district was nuts. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. They put me in there, and I'm like, oh, they're so cute, little tiny baby humans. And I had a student run right at me and bite me like a piranha. And everybody in the room was like, oh my God, she's never going to come back. Like, what a first day. And I was like,
I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I am.
It's funny to
funny now.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, please stop biting me. Like, please stop biting me, and like when you're in the heat of the moment, you're like, oh my God, what do I do, And like, I felt so bad because everybody was freaking out. They're like, oh my God, this is crazy. She's not going to come back tomorrow. Like, we really need her. And, but I was like, it's not their fault. He couldn't speak, and I knew that, like, I wasn't the one he wanted.
Right.
He didn't mean to bite me. I just happened to cross the line of fire, and that's what happened, I had to take one for the team.
Yeah.
Maybe
that was your initiation.
I think that's,
so.
That's what it was. And, these kids.
He was welcoming you.
He was. And it's, what's crazy? He actually, left the district, and he's in a different school now. But we became so close after that. We have the same birthday. And, I was going to do the summer program here, and his parents and the district actually approached me and said, will you one-on-one him for 8 weeks? We need somebody. And I was like, yeah, it's, I don't, maybe that was, my initiation. Ever since that, we were like two peas in a pod. And I went home and was like, look what happened to me today, But, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I'm shocked that I even came back, but I love it. Every day's a new day, It's not like the same monotonous. I mean, being in kindergarten, lunch, and recess helps. They're just tiny little babies, and I'm here for the little baby savages. Every day is
savages.
Every day is a new day. You don't ever know what they're going to say. They're just little sponges trying to find their way in the big world, Next year, they'll be a little bit better, and the year after that, they'll get a little bit better. I watched it with my kid. I felt like when Aaron went to school, you know, he was my little King Tut, you know, and then my King Tut had to go to school with 10 other King Tuts. And then may the strongest survive, you know?
Yeah.
But it never, like, broke him, and he is still a good human. So, like, that's all I want. Like, my one is good. He never got corrupted. Like, just be a good human, you know?
Just be a good human.
Just be a good human, you know?
Right.
And that's when I work with my kids.
That needs to be a t-shirt. Just be a good human.
Yeah, like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Don't treat them any different. They're no different than you are. You know, they just don't have the amount of education that you do.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
you have to remember, you know, depending on what age group you're working with, obviously, but they're just 5 years old.
Yeah.
They're just 10 years old.
They just
They've
don't know.
only been alive for 3 years.
Yeah.
They do not have all your experiences.
Yeah.
They have
Put
their
yourself in
own,
their
and they're
shoes.
trying to figure out how to live in the world still.
This crazy thing called
Yeah.
life. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and,
Yeah.
and sharing your story. And I would love to have you on again. And I think with your one of your favorite teachers, I think we'll do a segment on that. So I'm excited to see what that comes out as.
Ready.
You know. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kayleen.
Of course.
A big thanks goes out to Kayleen, a mom, paraprofessional, and a great addition to our school. Thank you so much, Kayleen. If you liked this episode, share it with all your teacher friends. If you didn't like this episode, share it with all your teacher friends.